Our next guest proves that it's possible to bounce back from a setback. Entrepreneur and author A. Rod Womack started his business at the tender young age of 18 years old. A few years later, he purchased a struggling restaurant in Baltimore City, and within 1 year, the business was the picture of success. But it did not last long. An unbelievable set of circumstances sent him on a roller coaster ride to hell and back. He details it all in his new book, Redwood. Now let's talk to him. Let's welcome A. Rod Womack. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well.
Awesome. Okay, Redwood. It's based on a true story of you opening up a business at 18 years old and then things breaking.
Yeah. So what happens is the 18-year-old part, that's another business. That's when I first started my first business.
Okay.
Sold that at 23. This is later on.
Okay. And what was that business at 18 that you opened?
It was a landscaping company. I started, in college, and it did very well. So by 23, we sold it and we moved on. I finished school.
Okay. So by 23, you had a foundation of what it takes.
Of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, what it takes to open a business. You kind of had accounts receivables and all of that kind of stuff, which was a great way for you to prime yourself to go into the restaurant business.
It was.
Okay, so you open up the very successful Redwood Grill in Baltimore, and things are going well, and in 1 year, you have a very successful restaurant, which is a short amount of time.
Yeah. So what happens is I had partners. I had two partners, and we did very well with it. We bought the restaurant from a guy, and it was struggling at the time. You know, so the restaurant was struggling. We knew it, but we saw potential.
Okay.
At that time, believe it or not, as sad as a commentary as this is, we were the only black-owned restaurant downtown in Baltimore in a primarily African-American city.
Wow.
Now 3 months later, you know, another restaurant moved across the street, Larry Stewart's, and so we had some friendly competition. But for a while, we were the only ones. But anyway, the restaurant just grew quickly. We got a lot of support in the community, and it just one thing led to another. At one point, within about a year, people were waiting about an hour in line to eat sometimes at our restaurant. It was amazing how fast it grew.
Right?
Yeah, it's good and bad, right? There's up and down to that.
Right. So after a year, things are going well, and then what was the first sign that there was trouble brewing?
Well, there's a lot that happened in between that that time and the time that we really saw that trouble was brewing. There's a lot of circumstances. One is that competition. The Inner Harbor was just developing downtown Baltimore, so we saw some of our customer base, you know, flood out of our restaurant, and the restaurant changed. But then something even crazier and weirder and stranger happened. That's true. And that is, we discovered, because one day some agents walked into our restaurant. We discovered that a guy who was working
federal agents.
Federal agents.
Okay,
oh yes, I'm sorry. Federal agents walked in. Exactly. Yes, like FBI.
Yeah.
And they were looking for a guy who was our head cook at the time. Well, at least a few months prior to that, because he had left, and we didn't know why he left. He just left.
So your head cook leaves.
Yes.
He's been the one that's been there when it was hour-long wait.
Yes.
Okay. And then he leaves, and all of a sudden, federal agents show up, and what do they say?
They're looking for him, and they wouldn't go into too much detail.
Okay.
It wasn't until later we discovered that the reason they were looking for him is because he had been accused of killing like multiple women. And
so you're saying that your head cook was a serial killer?
Yes, I'm saying that he was.
So as he was tossing up the wings in the day, he was a serial killer when he was not at your restaurant?
Yes.
And you, at no point in this time that he was with you, did you notice anything strange?
Well, strange is different. Strange is different from being a serial killer. I mean, there are lots of strange people walking around the streets who aren't serial killers, right? So yes, did he have some quirks? Yes, he had, you know, anger management issues, I guess. So things like that, you know. And
you thought it was all like the book
I talk about that exactly in the book, but who knew that was gonna? And then the story gets even crazier and weirder. I mean, there's so many twists and turns. I describe Redwood like an onion. You peel it, and then there's another layer, underneath that, and then there's another layer under that.
Okay, so what happened? Did he get arrested? Did he go to prison?
He did get arrested. I'm not going to go into too much detail what happened after he got arrested, because I'm telling you right now, there is a stranger twist after he got arrested.
Okay.
And so I talk about that in the book, right? And so I would love to, you know, also, you know, just. Well, we'll talk more about that in a minute.
Sure. Okay. So what are I mean, I know you decided to write the book because when you have experiences like that, whether they're positive or negative experience, they make for stories that people can absolutely learn from.
Absolutely.
So what do you want to say to entrepreneurs, young and old, that go into business about how that experience impacted the way you look at business?
Yes. Well, the first and foremost, I would say that for any aspiring entrepreneur or restaurateur, that Redwood is a must-read. Get the book. You'll learn some lessons, and I think there'll be some great takeaways from it. One is, don't go into a business underfunded. We were a little underfunded. We scraped our money together at that time to get this restaurant. We really did, and we could have gone into the restaurant more funded. I think that, having a stronger business plan. We went into it with ideas, I think, that were very grandiose about the restaurant business is a difficult business.
One of the toughest businesses,
one of the stats,
right?
that's what they say.
In 3 years, if you don't make it, you're done.
That's it.
Right?
Not even that. Most of them don't even last a year.
Wow.
That's the stats on restaurant business.
Wow.
So I say be prepared and be well-funded when you go into the restaurant business. Those are two of the biggest takeaways that I would say that you'll get from this book. Another thing is, and this is even more important, don't be afraid to fail. And in the end, the readers will have one or two takeaways. They'll either see this situation, because I'm telling you now, this is a journey. This book will take you into a journey of especially what happens in the end, because there's a part that we talk about a con man who got involved at the end and tried to take the business. But my point is that some readers will take away that we succeeded overwhelmingly. We had people like Will Smith, Gene Hackman, we had Tyra Banks, a lot of celebrities coming and doing events at our restaurant.
Right.
But other people will say, okay, so they failed. But it's okay, because either way, whatever your takeaway is from the book, it's okay. It's your perspective of it and your perception of it.
Well, you say make sure that you're funded, and make sure that you have a long-term plan and you know where you're getting into. And I'm going to say make sure that you know your employees.
Make
right?
sure you know your employees.
You don't want to get caught having a serial killer as your main cook. So definitely you want to get a hold of Redwood, which is based on a true story, and definitely A-Rod Womack. Check out his book. Thank you so much.
I want to definitely mention the website, www.redwoodthebook.com.
Redwoodthebook.com.
It's in Barnes & Nobles. It's on Amazon, Kindle, and the audio version comes out this week.
Absolutely. Sounds like a good movie to me. Thank you so much.
It is going to be.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, remember her name, Carolyn Clark. Starting this Sunday, she will bring you interviews with the flyest black women on the planet. Actress and comedian Coco Brown is starring in the hit stage play Beauty Shop, and she joins us later. And we'll hear from the up-and-coming actress like Alexandria Shipp, I love her, who stars in the new movie Aaliyah, the Princess of R&B. Hit me up with your thoughts on Twitter at News1 or at Mo Ivory or on our News1 Facebook page. It is 31 after the hour.